Welcome to Discovery Watch with John Kaiser.
I'm your host, Jim Goddard. Welcome back to the show, John.
Jim, pleasure to be back on the show.
John, Consolidated Woodjam Copper published results for the second hole on its Deerhorn play, and the stock sagged. Wasn't this hole supposed to be a zinger?
This hole was definitely supposed to be a zinger because it was plotted as a near vertical hole designed to drill down structure. Now, normally drilling down structure is not a good thing because that doesn't give you a true width. You're supposed to drill across the structure to get a sense of how gold grade or copper grade behaves across the zone. But in this case, the Deerhorn, past drilling by Goldfields, it outlined a resource of about 33 million tons of just under half-gram gold and 0.22% copper, but it was all done with the idea of an open pit mine, so they never really went much past the, below 300 meters. And this is one of these calc-alkaline gold-enriched porphyry systems where often the gold and copper grade blossoms at depth. Because they've never had any deep holes in this system, when they finally started drilling this project in late September last year, their goal was to assess what happens beneath the 300-meter level that Goldfields had assessed. And what they reported was from 43 meters to 294 meters, a 251-meter interval. It ran 1.04 gram gold and 0.23% copper. And that's pretty good. That's quite impressive. However, these are tabular-like bodies, so it isn't as though they are super wide. The hope to get from 300 meters down to, say, 600-700 meters, even better grade, that was not delivered because the drill ended up deviating just enough to exit the mineralized zone at around the 300-meter depth, and it deviated into the barren post-mineral diking that also is a significant part of this Deerhorn system. It is not just one big porphyry system. It is a series of these porphyry dikes that are well mineralized and then other post-mineral ones that are not mineralized. And so the market was not happy that we did not get the key question answered: what happens at depth? The earlier hole that took a long time to finish, for which they reported, it was a bit to the north of this zone. It was an angled hole. And that hole delivered the best gold-copper grades ever for this system, even better than what Goldfields had managed to accomplish. And it tickled what may be a parallel zone to the southwest of this main zone. The third hole is drilled about 25 meters or so step out to the southeast of the zone, where it appears to have been cut off by the Goldfields drilling. And that hole is an angled hole. It's fairly lengthy. It's about 700 meters. They are still awaiting assays. They've made no secret about being quite pleased about what they're seeing in terms of chalcopyrite, the copper sulfide mineralization in it, but they have no idea, of course, what the gold is going to be. And they are hoping that when the assays come in, not only is the gold grade good in this direction, suggesting that a farther step out that Goldfields had done, which did not hit anything interesting, may have overshot the system because they view this as a sort of series of southeast plunging pencil-like bodies. And they also hope to see some good grades for what is a parallel structure that has not really been delineated. It's not part of the resource estimate, but the market, didn't get really what it wanted. It wants to see this other hole. It'll probably be mid-February before the assay lab brings back these results. And then the stock sagged because the market at this point doesn't know when are they supposed to go back. They also have the southeast copper deposit, and it's more of a traditional Highland Valley deposit. It's 227 million tons at about 0.31% copper. It's also in that same Woodjam property. And they have a IP target to the northeast where Goldfields drilled a hole 4 or 5 years ago and got some copper mineralization, but they didn't really have the benefit of the full IP survey. And when they did the IP survey, that hole effectively missed. They completed another IP survey to fill in some gaps. They're awaiting the final interpretation. And the goal is to go into this, what they call the megaton target. It's about 1,800 meters northeast of the southeast zone, and drill about a half dozen scout holes to assess to what extent it has similar copper mineralization. And that area is a bit boggy, and so you want the ground to be frozen. But because of the very warm winter that we've had in Canada, the ground there isn't even frozen yet. So even if they had been on the property by the second week of January, it would have been a mess to get any work done. So the market's hoping that they will be able to get in there by mid to late February while the ground is still frozen, drill these scout holes, hopefully make a discovery of a system of similar grade, maybe better than the southeast zone. Its tonnage footprint is similar to the southeast zone, so it could boost the resource 50 to 100%. And because we are in a copper market right now, there is renewed interest in this part of the project. Last year, nobody wanted to hear about the southeast zone because it's only 0.3% copper. They only wanted to hear about the gold potential. So going forward, hopefully they get a program going. They're a bit nervous. They have just under $2 million from a financing they completed in December. They would like to have more money in hand. But the general market has eased after that first week of strength in January while gold was trending up. The general resource sector has sagged. So when these results weren't what the market was looking for, it became an excuse for people to back off. And then today, in the last couple of days, we've seen the bigger markets start to go down. The Dow is now only 300 points from 30,000, and if it breaks it on the downside, that could be trouble. And we're starting to see really strange activity in the overall market. You've probably heard about the Gamestop Phenomenon. This is a company that operates these electronic game stores. It has about $3 billion revenue for the 9 months ending in October. There's about 65 million shares out. It's losing money on the $3 billion revenue that it had, and it's been one of the heavier shorted stocks out there. Today, this company went up almost $200 to close at $347, and it traded 91 million shares. That's $27 billion worth of stock that traded. And at the current price, the company has a valuation of about $23 billion. And having an excessively priced company, that's not so interesting. What's interesting with this story is that the hedge funds were shorting it some time ago, and they built up the short position, and a social media counterattack developed from all these smaller investors who have been buying it. And this has turned into a self-fulfilling phenomenon. And it's worrisome to people like me because when you have this much hot money chasing these types of short squeezes, it reminds me a lot of the first quarter of 2000 when the dot-com bubble was coming to its peak, when the hedge funds were finally capitulating, giving up because these dot-com empty stocks with enormous valuations were going through the roof. They capitulated, even went long just before the whole dot-com bubble cratered. And the resource juniors who haven't really participated in this continuing uptrend in the general market, they've been sort of in this worry mode for the past couple of weeks, wondering, wow, if this big market falls apart, what's going to happen to us? Will it be something similar to March of last year, where even though we were hardly overvalued at all, we all got crunched when the big market pulled down in response to the realization that the COVID pandemic was real. And this is now haunting the whole sector. So you'll probably have more questions about why is this stock down? Why is this one not up? It's because we're now in this phase of navigating a potential correction in the general market while we work our way through this COVID cycle, the last part of the COVID pandemic, and there's all this crazy bubble type activity happening in the market that's making observers very nervous about the sustainability of phenomena like Gamestop and its extraordinary trading frenzy today.
We'll have more with John Kaiser right after this.
Avon Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia and the Yukon, trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the OTCQB, symbol ABNAF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Avon's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at avonresources.com.
Engineer Gold Mines is focused on the exploration and development of the historic high-grade Engineer Gold Mine situated 32 kilometers southwest of Atlin, British Columbia. Engineer Gold Mines is fully permitted for surface and underground exploration with the drill program now underway. Engineer Gold Mines Limited trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol EAU. For more information, please visit us at engineergoldmines.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with John Kaiser. John, Northern Superior published results this week for its Lac Surprise play. Why has the stock pulled back?
Well, Jim, we introduced Northern Superior and Lac Surprise as a Discovery Watch story last year because the first hole that they had drilled in the extension of Van Star IM Gold's Nelligan project to the east, it indicated that this Renard zone does indeed project onto the Lac Surprise property. And that helped the company raise a lot of money. It now has just over $9 million in the treasury. And the Nelligan system has a resource estimate of about 3.2 million ounces of 1 gram per ton. It's different for that region in that it's metasediment hosted. It's a bulk tonnage situation. And the scale of this gold system is just being recognized right now. And the possibility that a similar amount of strike that is mineralized in the same style exists on the Lac Surprise project, this has attracted a lot of interest in Northern Superior. But this week they reported, or last week they reported more results from this drilling, and these were mostly from what they call Target 1, which was a little bit to the north of the Falcon Zone, which is a direct projection of the Nelligan system. The Nelligan system hole, the first one, they had 3.8 grams of gold equivalent over 15 meters, which was really good. But these other holes in the north, they were so-so. It wasn't really very interesting. In the market, when it doesn't see, further confirmation of what appears to have been a discovery hole, it suddenly becomes disappointed. And of course, as I described earlier today, the general market mood has turned sour about the resource sectors as it frets about what's going on in the bigger picture scene. However, by early February, they will be starting a 10,000 meter drill program, and most of that will be focused on the projection of the Falcon Zone, and it'll also assist the Epervier zone, which is in volcanics, that had been the focus of past exploration. So this series of holes will cut both of these zones, the Falcon Zone, which has never been assessed beyond just where it shows up on their side of the border, and they'll chase that 3-4 kilometers to the west, and later in the year they'll take on Target 3, which is farther west, which is a magnetic low interpreted as a zone of magnetite destruction created by fluid flow. So, and also the TPK project in northern Ontario. There's a bit of uncertainty about when this is supposed to, the drill program's supposed to start. They've got permission from the First Nations group to do ice drilling in that area. However, the COVID concern has gone through the roof, and there's a reluctance right now to let anybody near any of these First Nations communities and bring in COVID-19, and given their sort of limited resources for dealing with infections, this has basically put a bit of a pause on when TPK drilling can be done. Hopefully they'll be able to get in there and finally find the source of all this gold and till that they have identified in the past years. But for now, the focus will be on Lac Surprise, 10,000 meters of drilling starting in February, with data flow continuing for the rest of the year.
We'll have more with John Kaiser right after this.
Value from success. Growth in discovery. Golden Arrow Resources is a well-funded gold-copper exploration company with proven management and prospective properties in Chile, Argentina, and Paraguay. Golden Arrow trades on the Toronto Venture Exchange, symbol GRG, on Frankfurt, symbol G6A, and the OTCQB, symbol GARWF. For more information, visit us at goldenarrowresources.com or call Sean at 778-686-0135.
Media recognition from Bloomberg, Reuters, recycling trade publications, patented process for 100% recovery of critical metals, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, aluminum. American Manganese is focused on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. American Manganese trades on the TSX Venture, AMY, the US, AMYZF, and Frankfurt 2AM. For more information, visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Welcome back. We're speaking with John Kaiser. John, is Opus 1 still your canary in the coal mine indicator for the urban Barrie area play surrounding Osisko's Windfall project?
Jim, I have to say that it is no longer my canary in the coal mine for the urban Barrie area play, because the area play never ever happened. And Opus 1, which we first talked about in 2016-17, it basically died, despite having this Fecto property that they had optioned earlier, and which Osisko ended up surrounding by staking east of its Windfall project. The Windfall project itself has become a bit of a joke. They've spent over $400 million on it, a million meters of drilling. They're using their own money to buy back their stock at a normal course issuer's bid. They've got 5.8 million ounces of decent grade outlined, but they have yet to do an economic study to see what this is worth mining. And then they did something peculiar this week. They put out a press release that said Windfall infill drilling, insert superlative here. And the market said, I think you meant to say insert expletive here, like screw this dot. So Opus 1 is not a canary in the coal mine. There is no area play surrounding Windfall. The focus for Opus 1 has shifted to the Noyelle project, which is in the Douay-Cameron deformation zone, which parallels the Casa Berardi break, which hosts about 120 kilometers to the west, the Casa Berardi gold mine that is now operated by Hecla. They picked this project up a couple years ago. It's an old project of Pierre O'Dowd's that he was in charge of exploring in 2006-07. The Little Junior First Gold Exploration Inc. had used it as a property of merit to go public, and they had started getting decent gold grades when they decided to get another Quebec gold project. And then eventually they ended up branching off into lithium and got the Rose project and became Critical Elements Corp., which this week managed to raise $20 million as part of this surging, renewed interest in the lithium, the potential for lithium demand down the road as the electric vehicle fleet build-out continues to go far faster and bigger than anybody had expected. Now, Opus 1 managed to raise flow-through money late last year, and they got in there for a winter drilling program. This entire Douay-Cameron deformation zone, it's a zone of weakness and with all metasediments, and it's been recessively weathered, so it's a swampy area. And you can only really cost-effectively drill it due to access and moving the drill around during the winter when it is frozen. It is conceivable to do it during the summer with helicopter support, but until you have a major discovery, nobody's going to fund that expense. So they got in there in February, March last year, managed to get 2 holes done, and then had to pull out because of the COVID shutdown that kicked in March of last year. And both of those holes were intended as down plunge holes for the known mineralization. They did confirm that the zone persists. It's a sulfide-rich stockwork zone, not a narrow quartz zone with high-grade gold. And they're going back in there. Apparently this week they got the drill going, and they're going to drill 8 holes down plunge and around the main zone area, basically to understand the geometry and the rake of the gold grade in this system. But the real excitement will be when they step to the east with 5 holes. They have 2 targets to the east. In 2011, an IP survey was done to the east of this main area, and it outlined an IP anomaly along the trend where you expect it to be. This is all part of a 10-kilometer long property of what they call favorable structure. Most of the past work has been done in the western end. Cominco first explored in 1988. Then Bruce McDonald's Noramco got hold of the eastern part and drilled this north-south fence of 4 holes, which missed the IP anomaly, and there was nothing reportable that they found that came out of this. But as part of last year's program, they did get an IP survey done in the eastern part where there is no history of work whatsoever, and demonstrated that yes, this IP anomaly with a modest jog to the north continues another 2.5-3 kilometers to the east. So they have 5 kilometers of undrilled prospective horizon to assess, and they'll put 2 holes in the first one and 3 holes in the third one. And it is what those holes encounter that is really going to determine to what extent the market says, wow, we have a big discovery. And if they get good grades and thicknesses in those holes, confirming that, yes, there is lots of running room here to develop a medium to high-grade gold zone, they will have 2 options. One, they can build a road in there, and that will require about 10 kilometers of road work, but no idea how long permitting will take and how much that will cost. And the other is they could go in there with the helicopter supported program. Markets, if it sees a discovery unfolding, is always willing to pay extra to have results flowing. Having results flow right now is really important for the resource juniors. There is a sense that we are in, despite any rockiness we might have over the next couple of months in the general markets, we are in the second year of what's going to be a very big resource sector bull market, but nobody wants to be stuck in the stock which is going nowhere because there is no news flow. However, even if the results from the Noyelle project are not as fantastic as they would like, so that they can go in there with a helicopter-supported drilling program in the summer, they do have the Fecteau project ready, and this is the one that was my basis for calling this company a canary in the gold mine. It's now a standalone project. They've done gold in till sampling and developed several gold in till anomalies. They're just wrapping up interpretation of IP surveys that they did over this. So they will have 3 or 4 targets within this property ready for drill testing. This is up ice from these aprons of gold in till. And that is plan B, which would kick in the summer. And it would be an irony after these 3 years or so where the company kind of faded away and never got any area play traction. The Fecteau project itself becomes the star of a new discovery in the urban Barrie area, about 20 kilometers or so east of Osisko's Windfall deposit, where it's spent $400 million and 1 million meters of drilling, $400 million. So that's the situation for Opus 1. Noyelle is the new focus. The drills are turning. It will take 6 to 8 weeks to get the results, so this program will probably wrap up in mid-April. So we'll see data flow coming from any time in late April right through to early June from this project to find out what it is that they accomplished there.
John, thank you so much for the update.
You're welcome, Jim.
We've been talking with John Kaiser, his website, kaiserresearch.com. I'm Jim Goddard.
Comments made on Discovery Watch are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any manner whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Archived online at HowStreet.com. Discovery Watch is a production of How Street Media Incorporated.